Oh boy, now you've got the New York Times freaking out that Kamala Harris's sugar high might be waning. The New York Times is now reporting that Kamala Harris's surge is, quote, beginning to ebb. This is because of one of the latest polls that you can see right here. I actually like this website a lot, the Real Clear polling tracker, showing that Harris was really kicking butt there. Blue, 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 blue. But Trump's starting to come back, leading a lot of folks to say, maybe she got so much unfettered positive attention with Biden stepping aside for the first month of her campaign that now that her policies are coming out, now things are going right back to getting a little bit tighter, especially as Donald Trump is able to hone his messaging. Now, in this video, I want to talk about the debate prep that both of the candidates are doing, because as we know, polls are just polls, and quite frankly, tomorrow is going to be a big game changer. We are going to be live streaming the debate. Of course, I'll be adding commentary to it, but let's just put it on record now. You've got Donald Trump beating Kamala Harris by about 1 penny on the predicted odds. If we go to the Poly market odds, Trump is up as much as 6% in the betting market. So what's going on, and how are both candidates preparing for this debate? And does good old Meet Kevin, who used to be a master debater, have anything to say for Trump or Harris? Well, does Kevin have anything to say? It's like redundant. So yes, let's talk about it. First, though, it's worth noting that Liz Cheney, the daughter of former Vice President Dick Cheney, told ABC that another Trump presidency this weekend would be an unrecoverable disaster. That got a lot of headlines, leading people to say Liz Cheney's irrelevant anyway, and so is Dick. But anyway, Nikki Haley says she's ready to campaign for Trump. And Trump has also kind of been lashing out a little bit against lawyers, donors, election officers, and anyone who basically commits unscrupulous behavior in connection with voting. Now, I get it. I'm all for fair, free elections. But it is interesting. You're starting to see the kind of ramping up that we saw in 2020, where leading into the election, Donald Trump is like, I'll accept the results as long as they're fair. And, let's make a whole voting irregularities topic something to watch for in a different video. But for now, we got to talk debate prep, because both of them are debating very differently, or at least preparing to debate very differently. Consider this. Kamala Harris is apparently holed up in a Pittsburgh hotel. She planned to be there for 5 days, and she's literally undergoing multiple full-stage replica debates, fully set with TV lights and a Trump impersonator with a broad suit and big tie to try to get under Kamala Harris's skin to prep her, because they think Trump is trying to bring out the worst in her. And her goal is to bring out the worst in Trump. Duh. So what they're trying to do specifically is they're trying to train Kamala Harris to get under Trump's skin, because they think that if they could get under Trump's skin, he'll lash out kind of like he did during 2020, when we later found out he had COVID while he was debating and he was on stage sweating and stumbling around. That's what they want to bring out again. They might try to do things like calling him a Russian puppet, or, criticize him as a criminal. You could bet that's going to happen. They're going to absolutely try to tie him to Project 2025. And even though Donald Trump has been trying to distance himself from Project 2025, Democrats keep tying him back. And in fairness, he keeps giving them ammo for it. Donald Trump himself is like, I think we need to get rid of the Department of Education and leave it to the states, except for some states, because, some states, they're not going to do so well. And then it's like, okay, all right, that's kind of confusing and unclear, Donald. What are you trying to say? And then, of course, Democrats run with that and go, Trump wants to get rid of the Department of Education. Guess what that's similar to? Oh, page whatever from the Heritage Foundation in Project 2025, get rid of the Department of Education. But then again, Democrats aren't going to vote for Trump anyway. Okay. So consider this for a moment. Kamala Harris is in a 5-day debate prep mood. People think that this debate is going to make or break this election, and honestly, they might be right. Donald Trump's reaction is, I don't need to prep for the debate. Though he's kind of being informally pressured to prepare. Trump says this isn't debate prep time, that this is time for good policy. But his aides keep pushing him into debate prep. Apparently, he's getting prepped by people like Matt Gaetz, who's roasting him on criminal convictions. Tulsi Gabbard has been helping prepare Donald Trump. Trump has also been studying Kamala Harris's prior debates, where Kamala Harris tried to step over Mike Pence. Remember with that famous counter, I'm speaking. So they're trying to make sure that Donald Trump can respectfully, because he doesn't want to come across as like mansplaining to a woman, respectfully counter that sort of aggressiveness. Keep in mind, and we'll get to the debate advice in a moment, but Harris also has to make sure she doesn't come across as like a wretched style witch, which unfortunately is harder for a woman to do. I'm trying to speak as bluntly as possible here. That's just the fact of the matter. It's harder for a woman in a debate not to come across as vile. Like when a man does it, it's powerful, but when a woman does it, it's vile. It's not fair, right? For the women for like the 2 women listening to this video, please leave a comment down below so I can heart your comment. It's not fair to women. It's just the way it comes across. Harris definitely needs to bring policy insight here as well. And some of the latest survey data, we show that 28% of voters surveyed believe they need more information about Harris, whereas only 9% of voters need more information about Trump. People pretty much have their mind made up about Trump, and most Trump voters come from the angle of, hey man, vote for whomever you think is going to make the country better for your family, and try to distance yourself from the personal problems of the individual candidate. Whereas there are people, though, on the other side who say, look, I'm going to vote on a moral basis, right? And this is fine. People can say, hey, I don't want to vote for somebody who's been convicted of sexually abusing a woman. Whatever, right? That was the downgrade from the rape civil charge. Anyway, this is all separate. You all already know this stuff. So anyway, you could say the same thing about other things going on too. Anyway, Donald Trump, and I'm mostly talking about like Hunter, but then again, Biden's not running again anyway, right? So it's all crooked. Haven't we figured that out already? It's all crooked out there. It's all crazy. If you need me, I'll be there in 1 sec, just wrapping up a video. All right, so Trump has suggested quitting the debate privately, by the way, to some individuals. This isn't great. By the way, we use these radios, and I had to strap an air tag to it because I'm just really good at, like, being everywhere with this, and then I set it down, and it's really important because, like, when people hit me, I actually even have an encrypted one, right? Well, I mean, they're both encrypted, but this one's, like, our own network, and this one's, like, a cellular one, so we have 2. But anyway, it's great because we, anytime we're helping a client with financial advice or whatever, and a team member needs some help, even if I'm here editing or prepping a vid or whatever, boom, I'm accessible. Of course, I'll hop onto this right afterwards. Learn more about that, by the way, at stockhack.com. We're opening that service October 1st. It's going to be amazing. Flat fee financial consulting, how to build your wealth in real estate, properly allocate to stocks versus bonds versus real estate versus hedges versus speculative investments versus venture capital, you name it. It's really cool. Anyway, Trump quietly suggested quitting the debates to people that he's familiar with. One of the reasons for that is he didn't want to be part of an ABC hosted debate, although he's okay with the moderators they've chosen now, so he's dropped that because he's worried that would make him come across as weak. And yes, it would. Then Donald Trump also has some abortion problems. Now, I want to be really careful here because abortion is such a tough issue to talk about. But Kamala Harris actually has the abortion topic down pat. It's just simple for a Democrat because for a Democrat, it's very simple. You just go pro-choice, women's rights, allowed abortions through fetal viability, roughly about 24 weeks. She wants to codify that, even though that won't happen in a divided Congress. Trump has previously expressed that he's been accepting of a compromise, something like a 14 to 20 week abortion ban. And as recently as September, so this month of 2024, he suggested a ban after 24 weeks. However, then he got a ton of backlash, which left him now promising to veto a ban of 24 weeks. And now he's right back in the states' rights camp. So people are kind of confused, right? With Democrats, it's like abortion is clear. It's like pro-choice, done. Republicans, it's harder because some Republicans are like, look, I want no abortion after 6 weeks. Some Republicans are like, all abortion is murder, no abortion after conception. Others are like, look, if there's rape or incest, they're okay with abortion. Others, we've got 10 to 13 states that actually do not have a rape or incest exemption in the country. Some states don't even have a fatal fetal anomaly exemption where the child's going to die anyway. And the mother has to carry anyway, right? And so this creates this weird patchwork of laws that are very inconsistent throughout the entire country because it's all based on the individual states, and people are just vote the way you want in the state you want. I get it. But it's confusing for doctors, and it's confusing for medical professionals, and it's confusing for political supporters of Trump because sometimes he's like, yeah, there's a compromise on a national abortion ban. Then it's state rights. Now it's, hey, we'll do 24 weeks. Okay, just kidding. Back to states' rights. And then he even on August 23rd, he said something weird. It just doesn't sort of align with what he's been saying. He says that his administration would be great for women's reproductive rights. And people are like, wait, what? Are you endorsing abortion now? And then he had to come back and go, no, states' rights. And so people are like, oof, this is a messy one. So Donald Trump realizes he risks potentially losing votes on abortion, whereas, some anti-abortion advocates in the Republican Party just decide not to vote at all. I mean, they're not going to vote for Kamala, right? But a no vote is also bad. On top of that, you've got some Republican infighting going on. A part of this had to do with the transition for marketing, for example, in some of the swing states or even areas like Michigan, in certain county, Macomb, Michigan, where you had people help elect Obama in 08 and 12, elected Trump in 16, and then had a more narrow lead in 2020 for Trump. And now it's kind of you got a lot of people pissed off over there in terms of do you support Trump or not? Some of these areas, they've been having marketing issues. You've literally got Republican issues coming down to marketing issues because signage was delayed because, they had to change the name from Biden to Harris. It just sounds like a complete disaster. Running a campaign is hard, though, so I'm going to give that to both sides here. My debate advice, though, for the candidates tomorrow, and I just want to be clear, this next portion is just really my opinion. I just want to be transparent when I'm talking about data and facts versus my opinion. Donald Trump here, he's got to stick to the facts. He's got to stick to the facts about how the Biden administration has performed and how his policies will reverse the actual or perceived pain of Americans on inflation, immigration, taxation, freedoms, profits, success, whatever. Donald Trump needs to prevent sounding annoyed, though. He needs to prevent sounding like he's lashing out or letting Kamala Harris get under his skin. Donald Trump, during the Biden debate, was excellent, and I'm talking about the recent Biden debate. He was calm. He was respectful. He was quiet. He came across as presidential. People will, of course, debate the facts. We know both sides are going to tell their share of lies. And even if, Trump tells more lies or Kamala tells more lies, all that can be debated after the fact. But the feeling that people get from the debate, how professional were you? How presidential were you? People think Trump is a loose cannon. This is an opportunity for Trump to actually come across as a true professional and not like a loose cannon. And that's really, really important tomorrow. Now, Trump does have more debating experience. And again, his last debate with Joe Biden was good. He's got to keep that up. He has to avoid lecturing a woman, and he must come across as a happy Trump, not a bully. This is risky. He can prepare, but he's kind of choosing not to prepare more. You could prepare jokes and confidence and stuff like that. The problem with not preparing a lot is if your overconfidence leads to unpreparedness, you might end up retracing and getting a Trump bully. So Trump should be careful not to interrupt and be a bully. Harris, on the other hand, must avoid the Hillary Clinton wretchedness. We touched on that earlier. Harris, so far, she succeeds in coming across as likable, happy, funny. Some people think she's funny. Powerful, witty, right? These are the things that Democrats want to see. Democrats want to see hope and optimism, a bright future. This would be strength for a woman, blowing off Donald Trump's attacks and turning that energy into positive optimism. Donald Trump could, by the way, optimize his campaign and weaponize hope for the future in his campaign as well. Bringing back tax cuts, no new wars. Who had wars? Oh, Bush, Obama, Biden. Who didn't have new wars? Trump. This is such a strong argument. I feel like he just doesn't make, and that's why I keep saying it in videos. I'm like, he's got that. And remember, I'm always trying to come from the position of being in the middle here. That's why I'm trying to give advice to both sides. Criticizing Trump as a rich guy and giving rich guy friends, of Trump tax breaks is damaging to Trump. Associating him with 2020 Project 25 is damaging to him. Hitting on his unclarity on abortion. Those things are damaging him. He's got to turn around and say, hey, look, we're choosing the best for the middle class, the lower class, the upper class, every single class in America. You got to ask yourself, what did you like better, where you were then or where you are now, right? He's got to really try to get that voter, that lower income voter, the middle class voter. I think there's probably a good chance the upper class voters have made up their mind, but some of the lower middle class voters, the swing voters, they're the ones that are working at factories and they just got laid off. Stellantis just laid off a bunch of people. Big Lots just went bankrupt. These are the people Trump needs to speak to and say, look, you might try to turn this into an election over character, but ultimately you could pick what you think in terms of character and then be bankrupt and broke, or pick what is going to give you the best chance of success, and let's let bygones be bygones. The past happened, and now we've got to think about who's best for the country, you, and your family going forward. That would be my thesis. Obviously, there's probably a better way to wordsmith that. But anyway, if you'd like this insight, make sure to subscribe to the video, consider sharing it. Go to stockhack.com. Oh, so with that, make sure to go to stockhack.com to learn more about how we can help you create a plan for a better wealth, bigger wealth, a better retirement in the long term. We want to do the absolute best we can to help you. And while we can't make guarantees, we can promise you the absolute best service that we can provide. And we're so excited to start working for you starting October 1st. So if you're looking for whether it's business consulting, personal consulting, wealth advising, retirement, stocks, bonds, real estate, how to diversify between all of them, stockhack.com, drop your information in, and we'll see you there. Thanks so much, folks. Goodbye, and we'll talk to you soon.
These things that you told us here, I feel like nobody else knows about this.
We'll try a little advertising and see how it goes.
Congratulations, man. You have done so much. People love you. People look up to you.
Kevin Paffrath there, financial analyst and YouTuber. Meet Kevin. Always great to get your take.
Even though I'm a licensed financial advisor, licensed real estate broker, and becoming a stockbroker, this video is not personalized advice for you. It is not tax, legal, or otherwise personalized advice tailored to you. This video provides generalized perspective, information, and commentary. Any third-party content I show shall not be deemed endorsed by me. This video is not and shall never be deemed reasonably sufficient information for the purposes of evaluating a security or investment decision. Any links or promoted products are either paid affiliations or products or services we may benefit from. I also personally operate an actively managed ETF. I may personally hold or otherwise hold long or short positions in various securities, potentially including those mentioned in this video. However, I have no relationship to any issuer other than HouseHack, nor am I presently acting as a market maker. Make sure if you're considering investing in HouseHack to always read the PPM at househack.com.